Hey guys, Ricky here with DoD Contract Academy, and this week this is going to be part three. It's going to be a short episode, but part three of how we're going after those government contracts the right way. In previous episodes, and if you haven't seen those, part one was basically how you're going to build your pipeline. So I walk you through just a simple spreadsheet, some of the columns that you want to have on there, because going after these opportunities is a little bit different than chasing. It's a lot different than chasing commercial opportunities. So just some of the things I like to use in our CRM system. So that was part one. Number two was, how do you find them, right? And we want to find the opportunities ahead of the solicitation. So I show you how to find sources sought. I walk you through the websites and everything that you need to go to do that, to find opportunities for whatever you're selling ahead of a solicitation, which is going to make you a lot more competitive. It's going to allow you to influence that situation and ID who you need to set up meetings with, who you need to talk to have the best possible chance of winning that contract. So that was part two. Now we're on part three, right? So I showed you how to do that sources sought, how to find it, how to find what the government was asking for. Now we're going to talk about how to execute on that. Now, I'm not going to walk you step by step through how to write a sources sought or an RFI response. RFI stands for request for information. Typically, some of it's self-explanatory. They're going to ask you specific questions that they want. You're going to answer those. They may give you a template to fill out. They're all a little bit different. But I also have previous podcast episodes that walk you step by step through exactly what you need to do. I just hit my mic as I was getting animated on how to write that. You want to listen to that because there is some nuance. This is an art form, right? Responding to a source of sought. You can influence this to your benefit. You can recommend different contract vehicles that you have. You can if you have a set aside, you can recommend that. There's a lot you can shove into this to make you more competitive. Again, I'm not going to walk you step by step through that, but I did want you to know, listen to that episode or go to dodcontract.com and you can join our academy. And I have an entire module on RFI response and sources sought response writing. And then of course you could also talk to me and some of the other students on what works for us. Okay. So you have that sources sought. You have the response. It's probably 5 pages or so. The next thing that you have to do is you actually have to submit it. So step one is write it. Okay. And I gave you some resources, the podcast, the academy on how to write that. Number two is you have to submit it. Now, submitting it, usually what they do is they give you an email address, and that email address is going to basically be for a government representative that's in charge. It might be the contracting officer. It might be their assistant. Could be the program manager, right? So probably one of those three. It might be a contractor, and that's fine, but it's given you an email address. So you are going to send that response probably as a PDF attachment to the email address. Now, crucial to this is you need to confirm that they've received it, because military especially, but government organizations, they could very easily block your email address. Okay, so get rid of any links or any images that are in your actual email signature block. That's what I recommend, because those are things that will flag the email system. Just put the attachment in, send it in. Hey, here it is. Glad to respond. Let me know if you have any questions, but please confirm receipt of this email. Now that's step two. Now, step three is they have to confirm receipt. So if you haven't got an email confirming receipt within 24 hours, send a follow-up email. And in this email, don't put the attachment. Okay. And in this email, because the attachment can actually flag the system too. So now this next email, all this is text, no links, no images, no attachment, no nothing, but you can forward essentially the email that you sent them originally without the attachment, if that makes sense. So when they receive it, they're going to see that you sent them an email already with an attachment. And I'm removing everything because it has a better chance of getting through. So now it's, hey, just wanted to confirm that you received the submission, the sources sought submission. So you're either going to get a yes, we've got it, or if not, you're going to call them, figure out how to call them, or send them an email from a different email address. There's a few different ways you can do that, but get that confirmation of receipt. Now, once they confirm receipt, once you know that they have the sources sought, give them a couple of days. By the way, give them a couple of days unless they're asking you questions already. But after a few days goes by, you want to reach out to them, maybe a week, reach out to them and ask them for a follow-up or for a meeting, right? So there's a couple of things you could do. It depends on what you're submitting on, right? So if you have a software tool or something that you could demonstrate, you could say, hey, do you want to see a demo? We could set up a demo with you. If it's services, maybe, hey, do you have 30 minutes? Maybe I could walk you through what we offer and how we could best serve, and maybe, some of the things we're thinking about for your upcoming contract. Whatever it is, you're trying to set that meeting up. Now, you're not always going to get it. In person is great, but they might be on the other side of the country. So this might be a Zoom meeting, which can also work. It could be a telephone call. They might not respond to you at all. So you could just call them. Okay. But regardless of how you get in there, and by the way, I have other trainings and videos and podcasts on what you do once you set that meeting up with the government, right? So there's some key things you want to think about there. But now that I have them either on the phone because I called them, or I've got a meeting with them, whether it's Zoom or in person, of course, you're going to go over your capabilities, right? Specific to answering that solicitation or that RFI or sources sought. But the questions that you want to ask, because what we're really doing, we're influencing, but we want to get more information on this opportunity. And this goes for anything, right? I'm talking about sources sought, but this goes for SIBRs. It goes for any type of solicitation that's going to come out. The more information you have, the better you're going to be able to answer that. If you're writing a proposal 2 months from now for that solicitation, if you know more than your competitors, you're going to be able to write a better proposal. Okay. And there's almost no way they can cram all the information into, especially for smaller, when I say smaller, for smaller contracts, anything under 5 million, you're probably not going to see a huge amount of information in a sources sought, even the solicitation, right? So you might find out about, and I have some questions that I want you to ask when you get in there. You can ask, hey, is there a use case that, you didn't mention? And they might not have mentioned one at all. But what's the use case for this? Who's the customer? What kind of, if it's a software system, hey, is this for a classified or unclassified? They might not have mentioned that. Is this for, if it's building, they might, hey, what kind of building is this? What base is it at? There's a lot of questions that they may not have answered in the original solicitation. Anything that you want to know, you want to ask them. But I always ask, hey, what are some use cases that may not have been mentioned that will help us? Is there something that wasn't in the solicitation that we should know that would help answer your problem set a little bit better? So you're digging for information, like what's not in there? What don't we know that we should know? And you'd be surprised how many, once you get them talking, they're going to talk. And in this phase, they can tell you a lot, right? And remember, a lot of your competitors are just not going to be doing this. So I was just on a call the other day with a government organization. I had 5 of them on the phone, and it was a half-hour conversation, and they were giving me more information. I mean, I had 3 times the available information that I had initially, and that's going to allow us to write a way better proposal and hopefully win. So the use case, we talked about that. Anything that could, help you solve their problem a little bit better. You want to ask, hey, is this funded? That's critical. Now, when I say that, usually if a sources sought or RFI, if they went through the trouble of writing that, they should have funds for this, but they may tell you, hey, we're using next year's funds. Like any funding information you can find out could help you decide how real this opportunity is and what's the timeline look like. So if it's next year's funds, you might be able to push this out 6 months. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to actually execute on this for a while. Or hey, maybe we're gonna use this year's funds. We're looking at fallout funds, and it's July, we need to close this out before September. So then you've got a short-term opportunity to win a contract here, and you can take advantage of that. So ask if it's funded. Ask them if they already have somebody in mind. I mean, you can come right out and ask them, do you have someone else in mind for this already? Is there a company that you think can best answer this, or that you're talking to that you think that you already think is going to be the one that's kind of pre-selected? Now, they're going to usually say, no, but you never know who you're going to get on the other line. But if they give you the indication that somebody's already in the running for this, you can use that to help make a go, no-go decision, right? So if there's a company already chosen for the opportunity, there shouldn't be, but they always have an idea, right? I always had an idea that somebody could do the job. You want to know, hey, is there an incumbent? Is there somebody that's, a little bit ahead of you in the process? So see if you can get some information on that. Any specifics that you just need answers on. Again, there's 1,000 different types of opportunities out there, right? So, whether you're in accounting or construction or piano lessons, whatever it is that you're selling, you probably would like some more information on the specifics. So if you have some questions there, if you need, an architecture, or you are looking for, how much data is involved, whatever the question is, put those out there. Hey, I'm looking for answers on this. Do you know that? Can you get me answers? Or can you put me with somebody that can answer those questions? If the POC can put you with an engineer or somebody that's working on the project, that's awesome. And you should go and do that. Also ask them about the timeline. So I'm looking at my notes here, but I just want to make sure, ask them specifically, hey, what's the timeline for this? Now, it might've been in the sources sought, but it usually isn't. So are we looking at, is it 3 months out before you're going to put a solicitation out? Is it 6 months out? Is it a year? Has it been decided yet? This is going to tell you, how much weight you should put on this, right? Is it up and coming? Kind of like the funding question. Is this coming up right now? Or, is this something that might happen next year, right? So now we know we're going to still track it, but it's not going to be as important. It's not going to be the closest fire, that's for sure. So that is what you want to do to execute on that sources sought. Those are some of the questions you want. All of that information, by the way, is going to help you either win a sole source contract or write a proposal on a competed opportunity. And we'll cover that in another session, what the next step to this is going to look like. If you want help, head on over to dodcontract.com. We would love to bring you into the Academy. It's a monthly membership, essentially, where you're going to have access to all of our on-demand training plus a weekly coaching session. So we're helping a lot of entrepreneurs and small businesses sell to the government through the Academy. You can also reach out to me directly if you've been in business for a while, you're looking for some one-on-one or higher end consulting services. We certainly do that. But we just want to help you. And of course, for free, you've got the Academy podcast. And, we've got something like 121 episodes, I think, now. So I cover a lot of different topics, and I've talked to a lot of great subject matter experts. So there's a wealth of information there for you that will cost you nothing. So go in there, start winning those contracts. Hopefully this helps. Remember, leave us a review. Please subscribe, because that always helps. The reviews help as well. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.